Hey, fuckers. I'm trying to think of rock and roll overdose. That's all I got to say about that.
You couldn't get the curtain to drop at M3, but it sure enough dropped here as soon as you started.
Let's just leave it down.
Let's just roll with it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
We're in Steve's living room.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
There's a cat tree.
As long as it's okay for your cameras, we'll just roll. All right. Let's do some fun shit today.
This is high production here. I mean, we spent tons and tons of pennies on getting this whole set together. And I'm using a harmonica that's about 7 years old. And Simple Pleasure guy was here and he gave us hats and pot and bongs and grinders and edibles. And God bless him. Hunter, we love you.
Yes, indeed. Let's do some fun stuff today.
All right.
First up on the agenda, rumors you've heard either about yourself or the band over the years that were just completely preposterous.
The one that comes to mind, first of all, back in the Hammerjacks days, people would go into the ladies' room and they'd say, Steve and Brian are lovers.
It was written in the bathroom.
Yeah, in the ladies' room. So everybody thought we were gay.
Oh, my God. Did you ever talk about that on stage?
No, it's not something I want to touch. I was afraid people would go, yeah, sure. He has AIDS. Fuck him.
All right. That's cool. You've told me this multiple times. Some guy said he fucked your sister.
Oh, we used to go to this club in Frederick called the Rabbit's Foot. Remember the Rabbit's Foot, or are you too young?
I was too young, but
all right.
I've heard about it.
Everybody. So I saw you play the Rabbit's Foot. No, you never did because we never played there, but we did go there a lot, and that's where I met Kelly. Actually, that's where we kind of hit off and had our first date. Would you ask me? I'm not even high yet.
The rumors, and somebody said they fucked your sister.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, some guy walks up to me and goes, Steve Whiteman, I fucked your sister. I said, me too. I don't have a sister.
That's pretty funny.
You should have saw a guy's face. Me too.
Sister fucker from West Virginia.
Yeah, from West Virginia. It's allowed. It's part of
it's expected.
Yeah, it's part of the protocol.
So who would be your top one or top three celebrity crushes? Like mine is definitely Kate Hudson first and foremost.
Oh, you're going the women route.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, all right.
And Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
Oh, she's absolutely. It was. I haven't seen her lately, but
she's approaching that wall.
Okay. So
if you know what I mean.
Who is your all-time crush?
I think Margot Robbie right now is like the hottest woman on earth. Angela Jolie, phenomenal.
Yeah.
My Facebook is nothing but beautiful women and neuropathy cures. That's it. I don't have anything, and Brian's food. And that's why I don't get on Facebook all that much. I don't care what Brian eats. There's no cure for neuropathy. And beautiful girls are fun to watch.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them. Kate Hutton's a good one. Gal Gadot, I think, is phenomenal. There's too many.
Gal Gadot?
Gal? Yeah, Gal Gadot. Is that her name?
Not sure who that is. She
was in some movie.
She's an actress.
Oh, yes, she's a great actress.
Okay, I'll have to look her up.
Movies. What the hell? I don't remember.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Is she a blonde or brunette?
I'd say black hair.
Okay.
Is that brunette?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I got to check her out. All right, we want to tell you about our latest sponsor, and that is the Backseat Bar and Grill and the Backseat Event Center in Winchester, Virginia. The Event Center, it's an amazing arena-type venue. Jerry Sales, the owner there, is doing a great job. Huge rock and roll fan, and if you build it, they will come, and he sure enough built it. So check this out. Friday, March 7th, they have the Travelin' McCourys. Tickets are still available. Showtime at 8 o'clock. Saturday, March 8th, showtime 8 o'clock. the bands Sold Out and Kashmir. Still tickets available for that show. And the Event Center also hosts national acts coming up March 13th, Thursday, next Thursday. 8 o'clock is the showtime. Jackal. Tickets are still available at $36. So check it out. It's a short drive for Hagerstown, Martinsburg, Winchester area, and you don't have to travel all the way to DC or Baltimore to catch any of the national acts. Let's do this. Let's do the old word association game.
Okay.
So I'll say somebody, and you just give me your immediate thoughts about that person.
I can do that.
First one, Aerosmith.
Great. Probably the best.
Gene Simmons.
Cheap. I'm just going on what I hear. I don't know. We got to meet Gene and Paul. Kix was playing in Houston, Texas. And we get a call from our agent saying, would you guys like to open for Kiss? We go, fuck yeah, we'd love to open for Kiss. Can you be in Pittsburgh in 2 days? We're in Houston and we're in a van. Yes, we can be there. And we drove like 24 hours solid. And we would just take turns sleeping and switching off driving. And we made it. We got to Pittsburgh and we got to meet with Paul and Gene before the show and played in front of a sold out crowd in Pittsburgh, and people knew who we were. So it was a great show. And it was cool because Paul and Gene, they kind of like interviewed us a little bit. They go, we listened to your record and it was very good.
Really?
Yeah. They're very complimentary and welcome to the show. I hope you have a good one. Just real, by the way shit.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was very cool.
They were out of makeup at that point, right?
Yeah.
It was unmasked?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when they had Eric Carr on drums. And it's the first time I ever saw a drummer do a solo that had all those different percussions and downloads. And it was a phenomenal drum solo. It made my eyes bug out. It was so good. And Kiss was just loose that night because it was a makeup show.
Yeah.
I'm a show that they had previously booked and had to come back and do it again.
Right.
And they were just really loose and they were funny and they were fun. And it was just a great show. One of my best shows I've ever seen.
Wow. Too bad it didn't turn into more of a touring situation.
Yeah, it would have been Kiss and Kicks.
Yeah. That reminds me, this is way out of left field, but last summer we had somebody call us up and ask us come give them a price on their lawn, and we show up, and obviously all the social media shows my connection to Kix, and there's just been a big connection with me and Kix for many many years, and the daughter of the lady that called me came out while we were mowing, and she was probably 30 years old. And she said, so my mom told me you used to be in Kiss. And I said, if I used to be in Kiss, I wouldn't be here mowing your lawn, lady. I said, I think she confused it with Kix, K-I-X. And no, I wasn't in that band either, just connected. So that was kind of neat. I could have played that to the hilt if I wanted to.
Sure could have. You could have had lawn sex.
I had long hair at the time. I resembled Gene Simmons.
You're a little late today, Rick.
Yeah. Shoot. Okay. Word association.
All right.
Wasp.
Fuck them. They were the only band that wouldn't relent to us headlining M3. They're the only band. All the other bands, big band, outsold us by millions of records. But everybody knew that Kix was, we were the shit in Baltimore. And everybody else goes, I get it.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to go on earlier anyway and get the hell out of there? But not that guy.
Egomaniacs.
Yeah. And so half the crowd walked out on him. So
good.
Well, we just kind of chuckled about it. I didn't see any of his show. I left. I didn't give a shit. So, yeah. Other than that, no, fuck them.
All right. Mick Jagger.
The best.
The best.
Yeah. I saw the Stones in '81 on the Tattoo You tour.
Yeah.
And up until that point, I've been fronting and drumming the band. And at that point, I was the full-time lead singer, and we'd gotten Jimmy in the band. And I was just an absolute turd. I mean, I didn't know how to relate to the crowd. Believe it or not, I sucked. I could sing, but I didn't know how to move. I didn't know how to talk to the crowd. I didn't know how to get them involved. And when we played Leonardtown, Maryland, I was talking about Mick. Went to see the Stones, and and it just something went off in my head. I go, that's how you do it. I was watching the master, you know. So I just started watching Stone's videos and watched him like a hawk during that whole show. And he's just the best. I mean, he's not the best singer in the world, but he's the best showman. And he's a rock star. And when I was getting to Leonardtown, what got me out of that little funk that I was in was playing this club in Leonardtown, Maryland. We would go from, I think I've told this before, we go from Tuesday to Saturday night, and it'd be 5 sets a night. And no matter how many people were there, this asshole owner made us play. And so we would go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And by that time, my voice is fried. Everybody's tired, burnt out, hungover. Then we do Friday and Saturday in front of this packed ass crowd. But watching Mick Jagger and learning how to hone in my craft during those Leonardtown shows. And sometimes when there was nobody there is when we were at our best. We would just have fun with ourselves. We would play off each other. And that's when I learned that my sense of humor can be brought in and use it as a tool, as opposed to trying to be super cool and, you know, fist and all that shit. I said, fuck that. I'm going to make people laugh. And I was just able to let my personality come out, and it turned into what it was.
See, that makes me wonder. I've always thought about this. You know, you in my opinion, top 3 frontmen in all of rock and roll. Absolutely, without a doubt.
If we had the
you were
hits to go along
3.
with it, I would agree with you. But we didn't have any hits.
That doesn't take away the fact that you were one of the best, one of the very best.
Oh, that's
so.
Nice.
You know, like Eddie Van Halen. What if Eddie Van Halen never picked up a guitar? The world would never know. So it makes me wonder how many people are walking around with this talent that's never been brought out of them.
I'd say very few, because I know at a very early age, I knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I knew at 6, 7 years old what I was going to do. I told my mom I was going to buy her a house when I was 7 years old. I knew exactly what I was going to do. The night I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, I'm joining that club right there.
Yeah.
So I think if it's in you, you know it, and it finds its way out. Most people don't find out until they're like 13 or 14. I was 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was playing drums fluently by 8 years old.
Keeping a beat and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could roll and play. I play along with records. I play Gene Krupa records. You know who Gene Krupa is?
I've heard the name, but I wouldn't
he's
recognize.
an old, great drummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Mick Jagger and Donnie Purnell.
Donnie Purnell, misunderstood human being.
Okay.
Donnie was a great guy, except on show day. Show day, he was by the book, and he was all business, and he wasn't always the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But the respect and the motivation that he gave all of us is what made us great to this day. If it wasn't for Donnie, we never would have made it as far as we did, obviously, because he was the main songwriter. But he also was influential in bringing out my personality. He knew how to, like, we would go to toy stores and we'd buy the stupidest junk and throw it up on stage, and little by little I would start using them as props. And he was just he was a fun guy. He was a very generous guy, but he had his demons, and that's what made us not want to bring him back into the band.
I get it. A lot of people, you know, have been wishing since 1995.
Yeah.
But things happen for a reason, I guess.
I get it. Well, he hated me because I started Funny Money, and I started playing some kick stuff, because playing all my own originals and a couple of covers, it wasn't working. So I knew I had to, in order to bring crowd in, I had to play the music that they want to hear.
Yeah.
So I started playing some kick stuff, and Donnie hated it, pissed off. And when we were releasing probably the first Funny Money CD, I called Donnie because there was a song that we co-wrote that I was going to put on the CD, and he just tore me an asshole. Just didn't let me say one thing. Just start yelling. 5 minutes of this, just berating me on the phone, and I finally just said, "I'm sorry you feel like that. Fuck you very much." That was it. It's the last time I ever talked to him.
Wow.
Yeah. And no, actually, I gave him some props. I said, you know, I always had a lot of respect for you, and I appreciate all that you've done for me and for all the guys, but you're just a sorry person right now.
If you ever picked up your cell phone and it said Donnie Purnell, would you answer it?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. I don't hate anybody.
Do you hope that happens one day?
If it does.
Sort of?
Yeah, sure. I'd talk to him. I mean, it's been, 25, 30 years? Yeah. I think I can handle a conversation.
In 30 years,
Yeah.
1995.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Robert Plant.
Oh, rock god.
God, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Just a god. I mean, the flowing hair, the voice, the lyrics. I don't know if he was a great performer, but he was just he just had a charisma and a presence about him that
Yeah.
he didn't need to do much. He was fucking god. So,
Did you ever see Led Zeppelin?
never did.
Okay.
Brian did. Brian saw him. Brian said they weren't very good.
Jimmy did too, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Jimmy may have. Jimmy saw Hendrix.
Yeah. At Woodstock.
At Woodstock. we were doing an interview one day, and somebody said, "What was your first concert?" And I told him, "Mine was the Doobie Brothers." And everybody's going down the line, and where you saw them, Jimmy goes, "I saw Hendrix at Woodstock." Like, fuck you.
that beats the rest of them.
Yeah,
That's
hands down, you win.
Sure. All right, one more on the word association.
All right.
Bret Michaels.
Bret Michaels. That's a tough one because everybody thinks that I hate him because they lifted a lot of the Kicks antics, when they went out to L.A. because they used to open for us when they were called Paris. And they opened for us a good bit, probably a dozen times, if not more. And they decided to pack up the truck and move to Beverly. They took our act with them.
Hey, wait a minute. Come back here with that.
Hey, that's my move. I want that back. First time I saw one of their videos on MTV, I'm like, am I watching a Kicks video? Because he just mimicked me perfectly. Everything that I did with this dumb shit and dropping to the knees and the balloons and the confetti and all the shit that we had already been doing for years, and they just go, we'll take that. But you know what? I know how hard it is to make it in this business, and they fucking did it. So you got to tip your hat to them at some point.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious to the hardcore Kicks fans when they watch Poison that there was something lifted there, but you guys were doing it on the East Coast. They took it to L.A. where the hotbed was.
If you think about it was smart because I've ripped off Mick Jagger. I've ripped off a lot of frontmen. Rod Stewart. There's so many people that I would lift moves from and try to make it my own so it wasn't so blatantly obvious. But Bret was pretty damn blatant.
You did all the work and he got all the credit.
But like I say, they blew our doors off. So tip your hat where it needs to be tipped.
Yeah. So speaking of days back then with Paris and all, what are some of the early day venues? I mean, you ended up playing Rocklahoma and M3, and you sold out or almost sold out Merriweather, 16,000 people. What's some of the early venues you played that you remember that were just something memorable about them?
I think I told this story. The first gig I ever did was in Washington, Virginia, and it was the night the guy come in with a baseball bat and beat the hell out of our mixing board, and then the guy was shot later on that night. So that was a memorable one. The ones that were the coolest were the ones that were in Hagerstown, like the Old Mill Inn. When the drinking age was 18, you could make a living just playing in Hagerstown and Baltimore. I mean, there was so many bars, and they were packed all the time. So the Old Mill, the Mountain View, the 11th Frame. We didn't do much in Frederick. Every once in a while, we would do Maryland Theater or the theater in Frederick. We would play that one.
Okay.
Then we start branching out, going into Baltimore, and Baltimore had like 10 clubs, and we would play them all. And then we just kept branching out. We'd go to Philadelphia, we'd go down to Virginia, we'd go to New York, we'd go to North Carolina. We just kept expanding our fan base to the point where that's when the record company caught wind of us and said, we got to go see these guys. So they came to Waldorf, Maryland, and the guy's name was Richard Steinberg. Okay. And he came all the way down, and the next week, he loved us. I mean, we couldn't get rid of him at the end of the night. And he had us flown up to New York to do a showcase in front of the suits in Atlantic. And they stopped us after like 4 songs and said, you want to sign a record deal? We go, yeah. Then we thought, we made it. Yeah. Horse shit. It was psych.
Right.
I mean, the record did good enough that they re-upped us for the next one. And again, because we had this huge fan base, we would sell, 60, 70, 80,000 records, which they're recouping all their money. Right. We're just not making any money. So that's a win-win for them.
Yeah.
So they just kept re-upping us. And the second album did about the same. They made money. They re-upped it again. We did Midnight Dynamite, did a little better, and then Blow My Fuse finally broke it. And we thought, well, good. All the other ones are going to start selling now, and we'll be rich. Didn't happen. I've never seen a check from Atlantic Records.
Wow.
We made our money off of merch and off of live shows. That was it. We never made any money off of making records. I don't know. Any band that makes more than 2 or 3 records on a label, you've been fucked, because they get you in there and they give you your percentage of all the sales is like 12%, which is shit, because they're gonna advance you money for the record, which is about $70,000-$80,000. Then they're going to give you a little bit of tour support, which is however much. So you just keep amassing this huge debt, and by the time you do get to an album that's successful, you can't pay all that debt back. It's impossible.
Right.
Producers take a percentage, agents take a percentage, the record company takes a huge percentage. So the band just basically pulls their pants down, bends over.
Yeah.
So I've been bent over a long time.
The fans know, and it's talked about every day still, you guys have been done a year and a half. The Kick should have been that big stage. They should have been Van Halen's and the Def Leppards and the big stages. But you're saying this, but knowing you personally, you're not bitter about it.
No.
You're not bitter that you didn't get that status of a full-time arena band.
I made a living playing music.
Yeah.
I made it. If you can go from your 20s to your mid-60s and make a living just playing music, you've made it. You might not. Well, you have my gold records on your wall.
Too. Platinum too.
Platinum. But no, I don't think back. I never look back. I look ahead and I look into the now. I never look back, because it'll just drive me crazy. And I hear it all the time. You guys shoulda, coulda, woulda, but it didn't. So
right.
Reality is what it is.
Yeah. But you did do great. I mean,
we did better when we came back.
We
did better when we came back. When we started in, I guess, 2003 or 4, when we did shows with you, and then Sullivan Big contacted us in 2008, and that's when it just took off again. And we never looked back, and the crowds kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was great. The last 10 years of our career was great.
There was an underground cult following you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, old Donnie used to call us the Dirty Boys of the Underground.
Yeah. I like that, and the Vampires of Vaudeville.
I never got that one. I'm not a vampire. I've never been to vaudeville.
It was just rolled off the tongue. It was a cool name. What's some of the bands that opened for you guys back then, and then bands you opened for?
We opened for everybody. We opened for ZZ Top, Aerosmith. That was one of the coolest ones, because Aerosmith had just gotten back together. Joe and Stephen Kissed and made up, and they were riding around in station wagons when they first got back together. So we did like 5 shows with them, and that was just an amazing tour to get on, because we were all huge fans. And meeting Steven Tyler and how cool he was and how little he is. He's not that little, but that was amazing. We opened for the Tubes.
Okay.
Remember I was telling you about this one? We played with the Tubes in the Philadelphia Spectrum, and they were such dicks. I mean, they were telling us that we couldn't have but one amp for our backline. And in those days, you toured, you had everything in crates, and you just rolled it up on stage. Well, we had to take our amps apart and just make it look like it was rinky-dink, because they didn't want us.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they didn't want it to look like we were going to outlook them on stage.
Right.
And they were dicks. Other than them and David Lee Roth were the only 2 people, and Triumph.
Yeah.
The only 3 bands that we had a problem with. Everybody else was so cool. The guys in Rat were very cool. The guys in Britney Fox were very cool. The guys in Whitesnake were very cool. Who else did we? ZZ Top we got to open for in Hershey, Pennsylvania. With Hershey, something like that. And I had just gotten married. I was on my honeymoon up at Deep Creek Lake. Kelly and I went up there, and I caught this cold from hell. And I didn't give a fuck, because I'm on my honeymoon and I'm partying and I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And I get a call. It's Donnie. He goes, "You got to be in Hershey tomorrow. We're opening for ZZ Top." And I go, "I'm on my honeymoon and I've got a cold from hell. I'm not going to be able to sing." "Oh, yes, you will." So I left Deep Creek Lake, went to Hershey, and Kelly couldn't even come because that was the rules back then. No women. I know, ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
So, and I'm up on stage in front of 20,000 people, and I got nothing. You know the part in the itch where I got ants in my pants. Let's dance. I go, I got ants in my pants. Let's dance. I mean, it was so bad, and I sucked so bad. But I had to do the show. Luckily, it was only about 8 or 9 songs, but I sucked. Just fucking sucked. But I moved like Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
That boy can't sing, but he sure can move.
Did you ever feel any competition with any of the other bands back then? You know, you guys would be neither one of you headliners, but you were both on the same bill. Maybe both of you were support for the big act. Was there ever a competition of just Cinderella? You know, hey, we got to blow those guys away tonight.
No, I don't think we ever. No, never got into that.
I didn't think so.
Everybody's there for the same reason: it's to entertain a crowd. And if the first band is good and entertain the crowd, and the second band is good and entertain, and that's a great night. But if you're out there trying to sabotage a band or cut their lights down or give them a shitty mix,
right?
We never did any of that. We want everybody to be the best they can be, and most of the people we worked with were the same way.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's stupid.
Do you remember ever getting booed off the stage?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. I told you the Triumph story. We opened for Triumph, and I was either Eugene, Oregon, or one of those places out in the Northwest. And I told you this before. I used to get in this trash bag, and I would do this whole bit about being born, and I would rip out the trash bag. And now this is in an arena. This shit will fly in a club, but it's not going to fly in an arena.
Yeah.
So speaking of flying, everything starts flying at me. I'm getting pelted by quarters and dimes and lighters. And Donnie got hit in the neck with a Jack Daniels bottle. And he just walked off. And he was so humiliated that night he drank like 3 bottles of wine by himself. And Donnie and I used to room together. And I woke up to take a piss, and I look over, and the wall, nothing but puke with wine all over.
Shit.
He got up and just threw up all over the wall. And I said, ew. That's gross. Then I went back to bed.
And wake him up and say, go outside and do that.
No, I should have. I think that was before the rap. No, that was after the rap.
Okay.
But a good line.
Yeah.
I think I will call him.
Remember that time?
Remember that time you threw up over the wall? I should have said, go outside and do that.
I don't need this.
Fuck this.
So what's the weirdest thing you did in the band? Maybe something you guys were tasked with, or I know Donnie was in charge, or Ronnie was in charge of getting posters out to the clubs.
We all had our own little jobs.
Yeah.
The weirdest job I had, and I hope Donnie never hears this, but Donnie started losing his hair when I first joined the band. He was losing his hair. He was getting real thin. And we all felt terrible for him because we all got these fucking flowing locks.
Yeah.
Ronnie has a lion's mane.
Yeah.
My hair is long, and everybody's hair is perfect. And poor Donnie's got these little twigs of hair coming out. And he got transplants, but at that time they weren't very good. I mean, they helped, but they weren't very good. So I used to take this stuff. We called it Scott McGinn because the woman's face looked like Scott McGinn on Face Dancer. And it was you paint your head with it. So I would shake it up and had the ball bearings in it and everything.
Really?
Yeah. And I would paint Donnie's head. and then I had to tie a headband around his head. And I had a signal with him. If it started to melt or run down his face, I would give him one of these. And he would run over and grab a towel and wipe his face. And if I was pissed off at him that night, I wouldn't let him know. It would just run down his face, and I could look over him and go, fucking mud duck.
Every week you hear Steve and I talk about our main sponsor, Simple Pleasures. And we've got the honor today of having the human encyclopedia of marijuana. The guy that runs Simple Pleasures, Hunter Smith, is here with us today to tell you guys a little bit more about Simple Pleasures.
Thank you for that. That was very well put. Simple Pleasures isn't your typical dispensary. In fact, we aren't a dispensary at all. Unlike state licensed shops, we operate under the 2018 Farm Bill, which allows us to legally sell THCA products. But what does that even mean? There's a lot of misconceptions on the THCA versus THC. What's the difference? What's what? Is it fake? THCA is the acidic form of it, so it's the raw form, put in layman's terms. It's naturally occurring compound in hemp. When heated, whether by smoking, vaping, or cooking, it converts to THC, the same active ingredient found in dispensary cannabis, the same kind that got him in trouble at the airport, all of it.
How'd you know?
Yeah, lucky guess. The big difference between us and the dispensaries is we have a lot more creative freedom. We don't have all that red tape that state-ran places have. That gives us creative opportunities to market it better, do stuff like this, bring you better prices.
We like that.
Yes, the prices are a big thing. The quality's big.
I can vouch for the quality.
Has the industry ever been as fun as some of the things that we get to do with it? You know, you don't see other big name dispensaries out making skit videos, dressing up as Santa, going out and trying to make people smile. So that's the Simple Pleasures difference. You're getting a family-owned and operated business that is really only worried about quality and customer satisfaction.
It shows.
We'll lose a buck to make sure you're happy.
It does. The entire staff is just, when you walk in that place, it's like they're excited to see you.
Yeah.
Makes you feel real good.
Makes you feel welcome.
So we thought that, you know, the Kicks fans would love what we do because Kicks isn't really just a band, it's a feeling, an energy, kind of a way of life. Their music's about cutting loose, having a good time, living life on your own terms. And that's the same energy we bring to our shop.
We appreciate everything you do for us, Hunter.
Yeah.
It's been great, and
thanks so much.
We're so glad you reached out to us when you heard about us starting this.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of fun with you and your business. It's awesome.
Many more, right, guys?
That's right. Let's do it.
Oh.
Let's do a couple emails.
All right.
We got some interesting emails. First one, this is from Dawn Littleton. She writes, Steve, what is one of the best or your favorite gifts you've ever received from a fan?
Oh, that's pretty easy. And ironically,
hey,
we were doing a meet and greet somewhere in southern Maryland. And these guys come up to me who are ex-military. One guy comes up to me and said, you remember me? Of course I said yes, and I don't remember anybody. And he started reminding me of a situation where we played a club and him and his friend came backstage because the road crew brought him back because they were getting ready to be stationed in Iraq. Oh. So they were leaving for Iraq in a day or two. And I guess it was 2 years later when one of the guys came to our show, to the meet and greet, introduced himself, reminded me of that evening, and said, me and my buddy, we got these made for you. And it's a dog tag. And he said, my buddy wanted me to have you this because you guys got us through our whole tour. Listening to your music is what kept us uplifted, it made us not be so homesick. And unfortunately, he didn't make it out. So they wanted me to have this. And it gives me chills just thinking about it right now. Yeah.
Big time.
It was, and it was too big for my wrist because I got child wrist. So I'd wear it on my pants over here. But just about every night we played, I put that thing on just to honor the guy and all the military who go through that shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've got more respect for military than anyone else on this planet.
Me too. How can you not? I mean, what they sacrifice, what their families sacrifice. It's when I was a kid growing up, the Vietnam War was going on, and I was petrified. I would go to bed every night and just worry that, am I going to go to Vietnam? Am I going to get killed? But thank God they stopped that shit before I was 18. I think they still had the lottery, and I was like way in the 300, so I was safe.
Okay.
Remember that? No, you don't.
No, I don't. I've heard stories. My oldest brother was at that age where if it would have kept going another year or two, he would have been eligible. Yeah. Wow, that's a priceless gift right there.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Special. In honor of Disney, I guess it's Jason Disney, Special U.S. Army, February 13, 2001.
Jason Disney.
Yeah, Jason Disney.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. All right, this next email is from Mark Athey. I think I'm saying that right. A-T-H-E-Y, Mark Athey, or Mark Athey. Sorry, Mark, but either way. It said, my first shoes show was November 26, 1980.
Okay.
He knows the day. It was at Towson State Student Union 98 Rock Birthday Bash. The Shoes played on one floor, and DC Star was playing on another floor. At one point, I remember hearing that you did P90X to keep in shape. What are you doing now to keep in shape in retirement?
I still do a lot of the P90X stuff. Before I would do the regiment, buy the tapes, the instruction tapes and everything, but I did it for so long I don't need the tapes anymore. So, but I don't do it as I used to, because I'm 68 now. I started when I was like in my mid 40s. So, but I still do it like 5 days a week, and that's what keeps me in shape, and that's why I'm able to drink a hell of a lot of beer.
That's hardcore. All right, we got time for one more email. This is from Dave August. I think this is the second time we've read one of Dave's questions.
Okay.
But keep them coming, guys. The POTcast2025@gmail.com is where you want to send your questions, and we may just read it right here on our episode.
As long as it's not stupid. What's your favorite road story? That kind of shit. We used to get that shit a lot.
Do you remember Hammerjacks?
Yeah, exactly.
You remember that?
Yeah. You remember me? Oh, sure.
You know how many people I've ran into that partied with you guys back in the 80s?
Well, the guy fucked my sister.
You guys must have partied every night with 100 people every night.
We did, yeah. That was our reputation.
All right, Dave August. One thing about Steve, besides being the funniest and most entertaining front man while still being a humble motherfucker, is his great harmonica playing. What tips do you have to start on the harmonica? What should we do quickly to not sound like a 3-year-old slobbering on a kazoo?
Well, everybody sounds like a 3-year-old slobbering on a kazoo when you first start. So everybody plays it like this, like a Dylan thing. So they're not bending any notes. They're just blowing in, sucking out. Sucking in, blowing out. Yeah, right. That. So what I tell students that would come to me to learn harmonica, I tell them, stick your tongue in the very first reed, then wrap your mouth around your tongue. So you want to single out the note. If you don't single out the note, you go, that sounds like shit. So you got to learn to do that on every reed. Bending is another thing. It's done in the throat. It's not done with anything else. You got to drop the larynx down. That bends the note. So learn to single out the notes, bend, you're on your way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Remember you told me once, harmonica lessons, it's one lesson and done. You can teach everything that they need to know in one lesson.
Yeah, some people keep coming back over and over. They just want to hang.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a lot of that over the years.
Yeah. What was the one, the Romantics? They had a song with a cool harmonica bit in it. What I like about you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in the wrong key. That's pretty simple.
Yeah. Very cool. That's it for this episode. We are out of time.
Peace, love, y'all.
Take it easy.